All right, we should be going. All right, hello everyone. Sorry, last video for the audio problems. It should be a lot better and a lot louder and a lot more hearable this time. Hopefully, it'll also do better. So, I am here again today to make the comprehensive PvE tier list or no, not PvP tier list that I promised you, guys, in my last video, if anyone could even hear it. And I've also added the units that I forgot last time. Alright, so we're going to start out with Bren this time. And Flary, if you're watching this, I will not be talking fast for you. Screw you. Alright, Bren is going to go in the good section because her removal, hypnotize, stun, she does decent amount of damage. She used to be in the meta a very, very long time ago, but not anymore. Alright, Panda, meta, cleanse, very, very good unit. Santa as well, meta. Now these two are really good. Panta removes all CC debuffs, all regular debuffs, adds immunity, stealth, effect res up. Overall great unit. Santa does his freeze, does his shield, does his speed up. Very good unit. Now she, let me actually pull up my unit list, but she is bad. Hoff is bad. You should never use those two, just for the plain fact that they're bad. They don't do anything. Surtur. Surtur's meta. Anyone who's been around recently knows that Surtur has been dominating Classic Arena in 5v5. He's been dominating 1v1 teams, as well as destroying a lot of other teams. Nos goes into semi-meta, just because, I mean, he's great for early mid-game content. You get him to E1, he'll absolutely crush it. But once Panda becomes common in the mix, he does fall off relatively for content. And, you know, he slowly falls off the later and later game you get, just because there's more and more CC removals. But he's great early game. If you can put an eye on him in the first, 4 weeks you get him, amazing. Awesome. Highly recommend. Alright. I don't know her name. She's bad. Willa? I think Willa, I've seen a few good teams with her, but she really does require a more poison-based team to do a lot of damage. She's a decent support. So I'll put it in good, because I think she is a pretty good unit for this. I'm finally pulling up the member list. Alright. Natalie. Natalie's bad, don't use her. Greta's bad, don't use her. Not niche, don't use her. Ariel's bad, don't use her. Hez has niche uses. There's one team I think that worked a while ago with AHJ, because, you know, if AHJ puts the most HP burn and Hez is E1, Hez can then nuke the team with the 5 HP burns doing a decent amount of damage each one. But that team doesn't work super well, just because maybe it works a little better now, but it's just really funky, and that's the only team it works on, and it typically works in War of Thrones. Ben Austin, I think, is upper tier good, maybe semi-meta, because he has the removal and he can target everyone to attack. And with Sun Wukong, he's actually really good, so I'll keep him in semi-meta. Sigmund, as much as I want to put him higher, he's bad, don't use him. Luz is bad, don't use him. Donald, I think for endgame, when he's E4, E5, he can shut down Eratos, he can shut down Melchios, he can shut down basically any sort of high damaging target very, very easily. Donald is very, very good, and definitely sits in meta. She's bad, don't use her. Rister E1, definitely semi-meta to meta, because E1, what he does is he gives the attack buff and then boosts TM with his S2 and stuns with his S4. So when he boosts TMs with S2, it makes your cleaver go faster, but cleaves aren't necessarily in the meta right now, and this can change later, moving Richter back up, but I think semi-meta is a good spot for him. She is bad. You don't use her. Beatrix is amazing. She gives skill up damage, does stun really fast. Overall, great unit. And I think she's honestly one of the best LTs they've released recently. This man... What is this man's name? Soli is bad, don't use him. Bari's bad, don't use him. This person's bad, don't use him. Kath is, I think, I want to put between semi-meta and meta, because she's a cleanse unit, but not on the level Panda is, and needs to go first to get her. I'll put her upper semi meta just because she has the cleanse and removal. Nita is 100% semi meta. She falls off late game because her damage just isn't as good. Needs more Kraken stats, but she does do a lot of damage as it is. So I think it's really good. All right, Slacto, I think that's his name. Yeah, Slacto. He's I think in niche uses because he does decent DD cleave, and I think in a War of Thrones team he'd do decent. Bad. All right, Gohana I'm gonna put in good because she has speed up she has TM boosts. She's kind of like a worse space in PvP, just because she boosts TM, but she doesn't have an innate TM boost like space does. Hertha is bad. I'm going to try and speed it up here. Momelo, I think, has niche uses with HP up for Errado, whatnot. Bad. Adelin's bad. Doesn't do enough damage. Nakashima, whatever his name is bad. Horus is bad. Luna is bad. There's going to be a lot more bad units in this one, the PvE tier list, just because the meta is so defined at this point that it doesn't really matter. She's bad. Will's bad. This guy, what's his name? Beetlegoose. I think he has niche uses. He's like really good early game for like a week or two. I've seen him used like once or twice, but not great. Gru, this is for you, Julian, in niche uses. Megan's and don't use. O'Grady's I'd put like bottom of semi meta. She's the second best PvP EC unit. I've seen some tests with her from their guildmates and whatnot that she does actually a lot of damage, and I've seen her kill some pretty good teams. So Tifia E1 I'm put in the semi meta. I've seen a lot of people use. Actually, I'm gonna move her down to good, but at E1 she does a lot of damage and attacks really fast. So that's good. Meta JB obviously meta. She does an ungodly amount of damage. Morkiss I'm also gonna put in meta. I've seen her kill some insane teams, just her by herself. So I'll put her in meta. This chick, why am I calling a tree a chick? Whatever. Teru is bad, don't use her. Ronai, I'm gonna put upper semi meta. She used to be in the meta, and then Adkins came out, so that kind of shut her down pretty hard. But at E3 she's still amazing. If the person doesn't have Adkins, you're gonna crush her with Ronai because she gets that TM up and everything. Maeve is bad, Veronica is bad, and Mercatio is I think he's a decent unit if you pair him up with Willa and Nita to do some good damage. Taff is bad. I think I've seen Lucifer in like one WOT team that actually did pretty good. It was a while ago, so I'm gonna put him in niche uses just because he's kind of a really niche unit. No one's ever gonna have him anyway. Besmok isn't don't use. Little Jack is going to be in niche uses because at E2 she does give that huge mastery bonus to do extra damage. Actually, I might move her up to good just for that. Bad. Chelsea, I think, has niche uses as well, just because she's a good burn unit, a good damage dealer, but she just doesn't have any of the qualities that other really good damage dealers have. Bad. Dez is bottom of niche uses with Bofany. They're just not that good. They're a PvE combo, so they do damage, but they're just not that good. Focus. For double cleave purposes, I'm going to put him in the semi-meta, because if you speed tune him perfectly, he does a lot of damage. But if not, then, oh well, he doesn't. Zora and, whatever, Elliot is in don't use. Andres, I think, I've seen some decent teams when he's in E3 with other burners like Moloch or, his name's O'Grady's, where he actually does decent chunks of damage, because Andres at E3 does do decent damage, but I just don't see him going anywhere above niche. Margarita isn't don't use. Oakman's and don't use. Gunners and don't use. Moloch is going to go in like upper good, because early game, if you can get him like E2, E3, he does some insane damage in a cleave, like some insane damage. Now Nordak, top of meta. Just like PvE, Nordak is one of the best units in the game. You make him fast. He puts on immortality. You're immune to CC. You have bonus shields coming in. You're basically uncleavable unless someone has like a removal unit. You're just insane. She, man, all these awful units for PvP. PvP is a lot harder to build around. I'll tell you that right now. Elsa has niche uses, so I've seen her in a WOT team. That's what a majority of these are, by the way. WOT teams that have like special buffs to boost certain units. Now, Fiona, I'm also going to put in niche uses, but not because she's getting a War of Thrones team. She does a lot. Oh no, she doesn't do a lot of damage. She applies stun with her S4 with a high chance of hitting. So in early game PvP, that's really crucial. Say you go like space into her to stun into like a, I don't know, like a Moloch cleave. Like this is like week 2, right? She becomes completely irrelevant later, but you know, she's there. He's bad. Claude's bad. Burns is bad. Elenia's bad. Igor's bad. Grace is bad. Austin is bad. Oldcaster has a use in War of Thrones where with the sacrificial buff where he dies and freezes everyone, which is kind of cool. He's bad. Tuck E1 I'm going to put in good. So he needs E1 for this, but his S2 freezes everyone and then he applies shield and HP up, which can boost Errato. So I'll put him in good. Bunny is going to go into meta because Bunny has the revival. Bunny has the piercing rate up, the cleanse from CC. Very, very, very good, strong unit. Very strong unit. Chardonnel, I'm going to put in, honestly, don't use. As good as he is, he's not good for PvP. Bam, here. Who the fuck is this guy? Amalak is going to go into the don't use. Zyra is going to go into the don't use. Valentina is going to go into the, I think, niche uses. She just doesn't do enough damage. I think in a WOT team, she can do okay if you like build around her specifically. But you know, Graham D is going to go into like bottom of good because he has freeze and whatnot, so he can be used. May is going to go bad. Thanos is going to go bad. Adkins is going to go meta. Adkins has, you know, if turn meter boost or heal effect, she just attacks your cleaver, whoever has the most damage, just over and over and over and over and over again. Your entire team gets slaughtered by E3 Adkins. It's really silly. Madalania is going to go in niche uses because she has a good WOT team team with fake revival buff. She's very good with that. Dario is going to go into don't use. Dakota is going to go into don't use. Quinlan at E2 is going to go into good. His E2 freezes everyone and he gets some TM from certain effects going off. I don't remember which ones. He is bad. Mimic is going to go into good because his taunt and immortality is really annoying. Even early game, mid game, it's all annoying. Big Jack is going to go into meta because he gives his turn up for someone else. He gives speed up 2 and TM boost. Overall, a very good unit. Carrie's going to go into bad. Teir is going to go into bad. Ascendo E1 is definitely going to go into semi-meta. Her freeze is not freeze. Her silence is insane. She gets a 30% innate TM boost, which is one of the highest in the game. Highly recommend using her if you can have her E1 very quickly. Carried is going into don't use. Agatha, I'm going to put, I think, into meta. I've seen her in a lot of endgame 3v3 teams here recently, with teams that I've seen being tried out. She just does like a lot of damage, shields buffs, works very well in tank teams, so she's definitely going to go up into the meta. Let me move Beatrix up. Beatrix is amazing. Surtur is going to also go up. And, yeah, there we go. Yeah, it's more accurate. Narch is going to go into don't use. Luki is going to go into don't use. Sentence going to go into don't use. He's going to go into don't use. Fritch is going to go into niche uses because he's kind of like a worse, shittier Mimic. So if you want to use her, if you want to use him in like early game PvP, you can. He's bad and is bad. Henge is going to go in straight into the meta. Henge has the removal, multi-hit, good damage. Overall great for tank teams, which is the current meta. AHJ is going to go right next to Hez, as these two are the combo I'm talking about when it comes to niche uses. Magdi's bad, Timmy's bad. Popper E3 is going to go into the meta. If you've ever fought a Popper E3, he does the TM down, he does effect res down, tenacity down, defense down, just lines you up perfectly for a good cleave to just sweep their entire team. Alright, I had to take a sip of my water. The talking fast hurts my throat. Aisha goes into bad. Mutu goes bad. Melchio goes to semi-meta. If you had asked me like 3 months ago, before all the tank meta started, Melchio would have been like number one on this list. He was the cleaver. But cleaves have become sort of kind of irrelevant in in-game PvP. So he'll stay at the top of semi-meta. We're finally in the Wizard Eye. Valentine's going to go into Don't Use. Hal is going to go into Niche Uses. He's also kind of like a Mimic with his taunt and but not Immortality. He gives good shield, overall very good unit. Gleeman, I'm going to go into bottom of good. Now, she used to be really good. In Fair Play Arena, she's still really good. But I think that she is not good anymore. She has her removal still. She still does good damage if you have like Kraken stats to go with her at E3, but it's not going to kill like a good well-made tank team, which kind of sucks. Mellet is going to go into Don't Use. Lydia, E4 is going to go, or not E4. Am I stupid? E2 is going to go straight into the meta. At E2, I think no, E3 is her PvP upgrade. At E3, she becomes insane for PvP. Space is also going to sit in the meta just because you get her so early. She gives such a good TM boost. Overall, amazing. Alec is going to go into good. His entire purpose is to eat debuffs. So, freeze, silence, whatever. You don't have to upgrade him at all for that. Sabelle is going to go bad. Jenny is going to go, I think, into niche uses. She's not great for PvP, as far as I'm aware. Lysander is also going to go into niche uses because of how many times he attacks and whatnot. Fruit is going to go into good because Fruit adds a really good buff to all his teammates, and he's actually pretty decent. Ana E3 actually does good damage, so in a cleave she can do good. Nid is going to go into in between niche uses and bad, but I think niche uses just because he actually does put out a decent amount of damage. Nereid is also going to go into niche uses. I think she's good for War of Thrones buff and a few other things. Marvel is going to go into Don't Use. Johnny at E3 is in the same place Alec is. He's just a lot more expensive to build. Villette's bad. Seahorse I'm going to put into top of good because she gives HP up with her Echo, and she's on overall a good unit. Pretty tanky, good for tank teams. Errata is going to go in the very top of meta. If you know, you know. Errata is just insane. Kills your entire team just for breathing. Don't. Alright. Don't. What did I do? Stop it. Alright, bad. Bully 3 can kind of be used for a mini cleave. Not great, though. Seth can be good for a tank team. Put up his shield automatically, and Ripple 2 does extra damage. Nilua is 100% going to go into semi-meta just because she removes CC one time. Does good damage when she dies. She does even more good damage. So overall, a good unit. Zhang Wang Ming Ding, whatever. That's probably racist. Is going to go into kind of semi-meta. I think top of semi-meta, bottom of good. When paired with Fruit, he's really good because he stacks shields, makes you a very tanky. Jue Wu has niche uses with his Horrified, TM down, and his removal S3 to cleave. Aniru has, I'm honestly going to say Don't Use. Aiden's definitely Don't Use. Dharma, I think, is also, maybe niche uses because he does DD. He does good DD damage, but it isn't as much as JB or as AoE as JB is. Faxian, I'm going to put in good because he gives TM up, does decent damage, and revives your entire team. Indra and Dianmu together, I'd honestly say is a good combo. It's not ideally meant for PvP, but it can be used if you have nothing else. Sun Wukong is definitely going to go in the top of meta. Sun Wukong E3 is a threat. E2 cleanses. E3 provides so much shield and so much damage and removal, it's insane. Nezha is niche uses, kind of like a mini cleave. Moxie, I'm going to put in good, but falls off later. He's good early game. Alright, so now we have the few epics that I thought were going to be pretty useful. I couldn't find Sylvelle, so she's good because she does TM down. I'm putting her in good. Mackin is going to be in niche uses. He has good cleanup potential and whatnot. Judge Liu in a full Saga City team is actually very good with Sun Wukong. So I'll put him in niche uses as well because you need a full Saga City team. Bisiden is... put him in good. At E3, he transfers his entire turn over to the target that he switches to and gives them crit rate up and crit damage up, I think. So it lets you double cleave if you need to. Rumble in a War of Thrones can be sacrificed similar to Oldcaster and blow up like the entire thing. Rudolph has freeze, some niche uses, and Calithum I'd say is probably the best because she doesn't remove debuffs. In fact, she moves all her debuffs that she has over to the unit that she's giving her turn to, and actually making her better than Bissadin in a lot of the cases. So this is the entire tier list. Thank you for watching, and subscribe, and I hope the audio is fixed. If it's not, I'm going to lose it. It's still going up, but I'm going to lose it.